Imagine you wake up tomorrow and realize your entire neighborhood is empty. No kids playing, no cars on the streets, no one standing in line at the coffee shop. This isn't a movie plot. It's the future of South Korea, and maybe the future of the entire world, because South Korea is on track to become the first country to collapse, not from war, disease, or disaster, but from simply running out of people. Let's break down how this is happening, why it's a ticking time bomb for the global economy, and what it means for you, no matter where you live. In 2024, South Korea broke a record, but not a good one. Their birth rate dropped to 0.72 children per woman, the lowest in the world. To keep a population stable, you need at least 2.1 children per woman. Korea isn't just below that line. They're falling off a demographic cliff. And this isn't some distant future problem. It's happening right now. In the 1950s, Korean women had 6 children on average. But today, just 0.72, the lowest ever recorded. In Seoul, it's even lower, 0.55. That means half of Korean women won't have children at all. South Korea's population is still growing today, but that's the freight train effect. You hear it coming for decades, and then it hits. Fast forward to 2060. The population shrinks by 30%. Korea becomes the oldest country in history. Half of all citizens are over 65. Fewer than 10% are under 25. Entire cities will be abandoned, classrooms shuttered, maternity wards repurposed, playgrounds rusting. 40% of elderly Koreans already live in poverty. That number will soar. South Korea's national pension fund, worth over $700 billion today, could be depleted by the 2050s. With fewer than one worker per retiree, the math doesn't work. By 2060, the working-age population may drop from 37 million to 17 million. Even with rising productivity, GDP will likely peak by the 2040s and then decline. Government revenues shrink while elder care costs explode. Infrastructure in rural areas becomes unsustainable. Some towns will simply vanish. And culturally, it gets worse. Already 20% of Koreans live alone. By 2060, 50% of 70-year-olds will have no siblings. 30% will have no children. Young people may make up just 5% of society. Fewer peers, fewer friends, an epidemic of loneliness. Korea's cultural rise, K-pop, dramas, tech, was built on a large, young population. That's fading fast. With few young people to carry on traditions, many could vanish. The military will feel the pressure too. Today, 5% of young men serve. In 2060, it would need to be 15% just to keep up. Meanwhile, North Korea has a higher birth rate and a bigger army. South Korea's defense could weaken over time. So how did this happen? 1. Overwork and career pressure. South Koreans work some of the longest hours in the world. Some companies even wanted to raise the limit to 69 hours a week. With so little free time, there's no space for dating or family life. Second, the cost of living. Buying a home in Seoul can take over 20 years of average income. Childcare is expensive. Education costs more than anywhere else, especially with private tutoring. 3. Cultural expectations. In Korea, having children outside marriage is rare. Only 4.7% of births happen that way. Women often face the most pressure. They're expected to handle both work and all the childcare. But many companies don't support them. If they take maternity leave, they might lose their job. or miss out on promotions. So more and more women decide not to have kids at all. Meanwhile, men also face stress to earn more, succeed fast, and support a family. It's too much. A whole generation is stepping away from marriage and kids. They even have a name, the Sampo generation, those who've given up on love, marriage, and family. The government has tried to fix things. Since 2006, they've spent over $200 billion on programs to boost the birth rate. Baby bonuses, housing support, parental leave. Some cities even run dating events. Seongnam's mayor launched a public matchmaking program. But the numbers kept falling. Why? Because the deeper problems remain. If people are overworked, stressed, and can't afford to raise kids, cash handouts won't help much. You can't just pay people to have families. You have to make it possible. What about immigration? Maybe. But South Korea is 96% ethnically Korean and hasn't welcomed much immigration. Changing that would take a huge cultural shift. What about raising the retirement age? That might help a little, but most people don't want to work longer, and it won't bring more babies. Even if the birth rate tripled overnight, Korea would still face decades of population shrinkage and aging. The pyramid is already upside down. So is there hope? Maybe. In 2024, births went up 3%, the first rise in 9 years. It's small, but it shows that things can change. Korea needs big shifts, less overwork, more affordable housing, better support for parents, shared duties between men and women, and more openness to newcomers. People need to feel like having a family won't ruin their future. South Korea is just the first. Japan, China, Germany, and even the US are heading down the same path. If Korea finds a solution, the whole world can learn from it. Collapse isn't a sure thing, but change is no longer optional. The demographic train is moving, and it won't stop on its own. South Korea still has a choice, but waiting guarantees nothing. What comes next depends on what we do now, because the next stop on this train could be your country. We've spent decades optimizing for growth, speed, and output, but maybe survival now depends on something deeper: connection, community, and giving the next generation a reason to exist.